Good afternoon, I'm Leila Masimov and you're watching A News. Now, the major stories make headlines today. US President Donald Trump marks his first 100 days in office at a Michigan rally. 3 people were shot dead in central Uppsala, Sweden. The police arrested a teenager suspected in shooting. North Korea conducts a fast test firing of its new warship's weapon system. US President Donald Trump marked the 100 days of his second term with a rally in Warren, Michigan on Tuesday. Addressing a crowd of supporters, he highlighted his administration's achievements in economic policy, immigration enforcement and government reform. Trump touted the implementation of significant tax cuts, claiming they would raise average household incomes and eliminate tax for many earning. He also emphasized his administration's efforts to reduce inflation, which he declared had already ended. And to increase wages, the rally held at Macomb Community College was Trump's largest political event since returning to the White House.
And they're saying, and you know what?
Our correspondent in the United States, Obi Shambandar, reports more about key highlights of Trump's 100-day Michigan rally.
President Trump held a massive rally in Macomb County, Michigan, to mark his 100 days since he won his re-election, where he touted his administration's record on the economy, border control, and tackling waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal bureaucracy. Trump promised the crowd that his administration will also soon pass what he called the largest tax cuts in American history. In many ways, it was a typical Trump rally. There was dancing, singing, cheering, and Trump brought onto stage a number of members of his administration, including Mehmet Oz, the Trump administration's administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. And in a striking moment at the rally, Trump showed a minutes-long video of illegal immigrants being deported to high-security prisons in El Salvador under the Alien Enemies Act. The crowd, in response, chanted, USA. We are delivering mass deportation and it's happening very fast, the president said. And after 100 days in office, it seems each day has come with a new executive order issued by the president on a major policy item. Winning the 2024 election in decisive fashion, President Trump has made it clear that he is going to maximize the use of his executive authority. And at the center of Trump's sweeping vision for the future of the country, America First. That has meant a crackdown on illegal migration, an unprecedented overhaul of the federal bureaucracy, efforts to bring down grocery prices, and the elimination of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, and of course, President Trump's signature, tariffs. On immigration, Trump declared a national emergency on the American-Mexico border that has seen border crossings plummet during his first 100 days. President Trump has also focused his efforts to bring down grocery prices, particularly the cost of eggs, which skyrocketed in the past 3 years. And to protect American jobs, President Trump launched the country's most ambitious tariffs to date. In February, he unveiled new 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, but later paused and then suspended the majority of those tariffs. On China, however, Trump has raised tariffs to a massive 145% as the retaliatory trade war with Beijing continues to escalate. President Trump has also promised that the External Revenue Service, which he ordered into existence via an executive order that he signed on Inauguration Day, will soon become a reality. In March, the president announced an executive order closing down the Department of Education, one of the very rare times in American history in which a major federal agency has been ordered to be shut down by the White House. But it is his administration's record on cracking down on illegal border crossings that President Trump is perhaps most proud of achieving in his first 100 days in office. Attempts by migrants to illegally cross the American-Mexico border have significantly decreased, according to the latest figures. President Trump has also talked about his energy policy, which he credited for lowering the price of gasoline or petrol for the average consumer. Increased gas and egg prices were major issues of concern for millions of American voters, and Trump made sure to stress how his policies are having an impact on the pocketbooks of everyday citizens. Mubi Shabander for A News, Washington, D.C.
President Trump takes action to ease pressure on the auto industry, approving tariff relief and tax credits just days before new import duties take effect, part of a broader effort to calm investor concerns and support U.S. manufacturers.
In a move to ease the impact of his administration's auto tariffs, President Donald Trump signed 2 executive orders on Tuesday. The measures include a mix of tax credits and tariff relief on imported materials used in U.S. vehicle production. The policy shift, announced as Trump visited Michigan, a key hub of the American auto industry, comes just days before a new round of 25% tariffs on imported automotive components is scheduled to take effect. The measures mark the administration's latest effort to ease concerns among investors and industry leaders about Trump's unpredictable trade strategies. In addition to the tariff changes, the White House also celebrated its first trade agreement with a foreign partner, signalling a potential shift toward a more strategic and less confrontational trade approach. Under Tuesday's orders, automakers will receive credits of up to 15% of the value of U.S. assembled vehicles to offset the cost of imported parts, offering short-term relief as supply chains adjust.
In a dramatic political shift, Mark Carney has been declared the next Prime Minister of Canada, leading the Liberal Party at the decisive victory in the 2025 federal elections. With a firm stance on Canadian sovereignty, Carney's leadership promises to steer the country toward a new chapter in its foreign and economic policies.
Mark Carney, a former governor of both the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England, secured 168 seats, just shy of a majority, but enough to form a stable government. He replaces long-serving Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, whose departure from politics earlier this year opened the door for Carney's swift rise. In his victory speech, Carney struck a firm tone on Canadian sovereignty. He went on to criticize Trump's protectionist trade policies and called for a new era of Canadian independence in foreign and economic policy. He directly addressed tensions with US President Donald Trump and said that Canada will never be owned by America.
Our old relationship with the United States, a relationship based on steadily increasing integration, is over. The system of open global trade, anchored by the United States, a system that Canada has relied on since the Second World War, a system that, while not perfect, has helped deliver prosperity for a country for decades, is over. These are tragedies, but it's also our new reality. We are over the shock of the American betrayal, but we should never forget the lessons. We have to look out for ourselves.
The election results come amid growing trade friction between the two countries, with Canada hit hard by recent US tariffs on aluminum, timber and agricultural products. Meanwhile, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre suffered a major personal defeat, losing his parliamentary seat. Despite the loss, the Conservatives increased their overall seat count to 144. Smaller parties, including the NDP and the Bloc Québécois, saw significant losses. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh announced his resignation shortly after the results were confirmed. World leaders have welcomed Mark Carney's election win with praise and high expectations. The European Union vowed to deepen ties, calling Carney a partner in defending democracy and free trade. US President Donald Trump has yet to issue a statement on the Liberal victory, which is widely viewed to have been driven by his actions and controversial statements. The UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer praised Carney's economic expertise, while officials in Beijing remained cautious, noting Canada's potential shift away from US-aligned trade frameworks. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky thanked Canada for steadfast support.
Thank you.
NATO's Mark Rutte emphasized defense cooperation, as did leaders in the Netherlands and Australia. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi voiced hope for better ties despite recent tensions.
I cannot believe you're doing this.
Mark Carney now begins the task of forming a government, engaging with independents and smaller parties, while outlining Canada's role amid a shifting global landscape marked by division and geopolitical change.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says it is time for Russia and Ukraine to present concrete proposals to end the war, or risk losing Washington's support as a mediator. A State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce said the next steps now lie with President Trump. The warning comes at efforts to extend a proposed ceasefire fortune. Moscow rejected Ukraine's request for a 30-day truce, calling it unrealistic without key issues resolved. President Zelensky, meanwhile, dismissed Russia's earlier 3-day pause as a manipulation tactic. Russia launched drone attacks on Ukraine's Kharkiv, injuring at least 45 people, including 2 children, according to regional authorities. Emergency crews battled flames and cleared trouble as dramatic footage showed widespread damage. Meanwhile, in southern eastern city of Dnipro, a separate drone strike sparked fires and killed 1 person. Both cities remain frequent targets in the ongoing war, now in its 4th year. Swedish police have arrested a teenager following Tuesday's fatal triple shooting in Uppsala. The prosecution authority confirmed that the suspect, now identified as a 16-year-old, has been taken into custody. Police say the suspect is one of the several individuals being questioned as a part of the investigation. The incident took place at a hair salon near Vaksala Square, just ahead of the annual Walpurgis Spring Festival. All 3 victims were between 15 and 20 years old. The identities have yet not been fully confirmed. Public discontent in Valencia has reached its peak. On Tuesday, hundreds of people took to the streets demanding the resignation of regional leader Carlos Mazón. At the center of the protest is a natural disaster that occurred 6 months ago.
Hundreds of people flooded the streets of Valencia on Tuesday, demanding the resignation of regional leader Carlos Mazón. The protests come at a time when the shock of the floods that occurred 6 months ago, which claimed the lives of over 200 people, is still ongoing.
Sadness. I feel like crying. There's a lot of emotion in this protest. Now at 2011, the alarm rang that could have ran way earlier because the warnings from weather agency were in place and the people wasn't alerted. We vote our leaders to handle things well, and Mazón didn't do it. He didn't handle the Dana well, so that's why we demand his resignation.
I'm waiting for Mazón to resign. I feel hurt, and I feel that we need for this situation to be reappointed.
Mass protests demanding Mazón's resignation have become a regular occurrence in the region, taking place every month.
We think that Valencia in this case didn't deserve this humiliation of EPP holding Congress. We think that doing the Congress here has a very negative meaning. The people that have suffered take it as an offence, and the ones that are fighting for justice think that they are laughing in our face. Therefore, we think it's a provocation by the European People's Party and the Spanish People's Party.
The EPP Congress takes place just a day after a massive power outage that lasted for several hours in Spain on Monday. The blackout caused widespread disruption, with cities plunged into darkness, stalled vehicles and paralysed infrastructure, raising serious concerns in both Spain and Portugal. Power supply was gradually restored by the evening. Against the backdrop of public discontent, the EPP Congress held in Valencia has become the centre of national attention.
Pakistan says it has credible intelligence that India may launch a military strike within the next 24 to 36 hours. The warning follows a deadly militant attack in Kashmir that left 26 people dead. As tensions escalate between the two nuclear-armed neighbours, international calls for restraint are growing louder.
As India-Pakistan tensions rise, Islamabad claims in a late-night post that it has credible intelligence, suggesting India is preparing to carry out a military strike within the next 24 to 36 hours. The planned action, Pakistan says, would use last week's attack in Pahalgam as a pretext.
Pakistan has credible intelligence that India intends carrying out military action against Pakistan in the next 24 to 36 hours on the pretext of baseless and concocted allegations of involvement in the Pahalgam incident. India's self-assumed hubristic role of judge, jury, and executioner in the region is reckless and vehemently rejected. Pakistan has been the victim of terrorism itself and truly understands the pain of this scourge. We have always condemned terrorism in all its forms and manifestations anywhere in the world. Being a responsible state, Pakistan open-heartedly offered a credible, transparent, and independent investigation by a neutral commission of experts to ascertain the truth.
The attack at a tourist destination in Indian-controlled Kashmir sparked outrage across India. Authorities there blame Pakistan-based militants, an accusation Islamabad denies. Pakistan has instead called for an impartial international investigation. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has promised to track down those responsible, stating that both the attackers and their supporters will face consequences. Both countries have taken retaliatory measures. India has suspended the Indus Waters Treaty, while Pakistan has closed its airspace to Indian aircraft. Military tensions along the line of control have reportedly increased. Pakistan also warned that an Indian incursion could be imminent, but stated that nuclear weapons would only be used if the country's survival was threatened. The situation has drawn concern from world powers. The United Nations has reached out to both governments and offered to mediate. The United States and China have also urged both sides to exercise caution. Experts say that if tensions continue to escalate, the region faces the risk of another major military conflict with global ramifications for security and stability.
North Korea conducted the first test firing of the weapon system on its newly unveiled Choehan class, the warship, earlier this week. According to the Korean Central News Agency, named after an anti-Japanese revolutionary fighter, the warship underwent the test on Tuesday. It involved the launch of cruise and anti-air missiles as well as artillery fire. Leader Kim Jong-un and senior officials attended the test. Kim stressed the need to strengthen the Navy's nuclear capabilities to counter future threats. The warship is expected to be fully operational next year, marking a significant upgrade to North Korea's military. China's President Xi Jinping has called on Shanghai to lead global AI innovation as he visited a major tech center in the city. The move comes amid deepening US-China trade tensions.
Chinese President Xi Jinping visited Shanghai, calling for faster progress in artificial intelligence as China pushes for tech self-reliance amid continued trade tensions with the United States. At the Shanghai Foundation Model Innovation Center, an AI hub launched in 2023 and now home to over 100 companies. Xi urged stronger policy support and global ambitions for China's AI sector. He toured startup labs and tested smart glasses developed on site. The visit comes days after a top-level Communist Party meeting on AI strategy and follows the international rise of Chinese startup DeepSeek, which has drawn global attention to China's capabilities in the field. Xi's Shanghai trip, his first to China's main international financial hub since November 2023, comes at a time when the tariff fight with the US has raised the stakes for global economic growth.
A new chapter in the European defence cooperation is unfolding as Turkey's Bayraktar and Italy's Leonardo seal a strategic partnership aimed at transforming the future of unmanned aerial systems. The deal exchanged at a high-level summit in Rome signals a powerful alignment in defence technology between Ankara and Rome.
At the 4th Turkey-Italy Intergovernmental Summit held in Rome, defense leaders Baykar and Leonardo officially exchanged a strategic partnership agreement. The ceremony took place at the historic Villa Pampili, attended by Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. The agreement, originally signed on March 6, was formally exchanged on Tuesday by Selçuk Bayraktar, chairman of Baykar's board of directors, and Roberto Gingolani, CEO and general manager of Leonardo. The strategic partnership is set to combine Baykar's global leadership in unmanned aerial vehicle technology with Leonardo's deep expertise in mission systems, payload development, and aviation certifications across Europe. Baykar, known for its operational UAV platforms and advancements in artificial intelligence, will collaborate with Leonardo, one of Europe's premier defense technology companies. Together, they aim to capture a growing share of the European UAV market by merging cutting-edge design and advanced mission integration. This joint venture goes beyond UAVs. It also includes collaboration in electronic systems, smart payloads, integrated AI solutions, and multi-domain mission architectures. The project will be headquartered across several key Italian cities, including Ronci dei Legionari, Torino, Roma, Tiburtina, and Nerviano, establishing a strong industrial and technological footprint within the EU.
In the heart of Turkey's Kahramanmaraş, a powerful symbol of resilience and solidarity has emerged from the ruins of the disaster. With the cooperation of Turkey and Azerbaijan, a brand new Heydar Aliyev primary school has been built to replace one that was lost in the devastating earthquake on February 6, 2023.
A brand new school has opened its doors in Turkey's Kahramanmaraş, offering a fresh start to hundreds of children after 2023 devastating earthquakes. Built with support from Azerbaijan, the Heydar Aliyev Primary School replaces the old Sezai Karakoç Primary School, which was heavily damaged in the February 6 quakes. The new school is located in the Azerbaijan district, fittingly named, and is more than just a modern building. It is a powerful symbol of unity between Turkey and Azerbaijan and a big step forward for the recovering community. Designed to withstand future disasters, the school features 20 classrooms, 3 science labs, and 3 rooms for kindergartens. There is also a library, a gym, music and tech workshops, a health room, and large playgrounds for students to enjoy. Principal Murat Demirci praised the fast progress made during the rebuilding process. In just 16 months, the old school was torn down, the area cleared, and the new facility built to high modern standards. Currently, about 400 students are enrolled, but that number could rise to 1,500 as new housing in the area is completed and more families move back. More than just bricks and mortar, the Heydar Aliyev Primary School represents hope and resilience, proof that strong partnerships and quick action can bring real change to communities in need.
The United Kingdom and Azerbaijan have convened a high-level intergovernmental commission in London aimed at strengthening bilateral cooperation across sectors such as energy, trade and regional security. To discuss the significance of this meeting and the evolving UK-Azerbaijan relationship, I'm joined by Hussein Sultanli, advisor at the Center of Analysis of International Relations from Baku. Good afternoon, Mr. Sultanli.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Mr. Sultanli, what are the strategic priorities for the UK in deepening ties with Azerbaijan through this intergovernmental commission?
Well, the UK has been Azerbaijan's close ally for several decades now. Azerbaijan considers the UK a dear friend. This is something that's very important for the country because amidst ongoing geopolitical turmoil and instability, Azerbaijan really values the fact that it has a country like the UK that defends its interests, engages in mutual cooperation with the country, and in addition to economic ties, which are of course undeniable, the UK has always demonstrated political support to Azerbaijan with regards to its territorial integrity and all other matters. Azerbaijan is very important for the UK because for several decades now, the UK, for several years in fact, the UK has been the highest or one of the highest foreign direct investors into the country. Between 1994 and the first three alone, the UK invested around $35 billion into Azerbaijan, which is an extremely significant figure. And the fact that today this intergovernmental commission was held for another time demonstrates that the UK sees Azerbaijan as a long-term partner. It is constantly continuing and developing its ties with Azerbaijan. The UK's geopolitical position itself is changing, of course. It is no longer a member of the European Union. Its ties with the United States are also undergoing change. And for this reason, ties and engagement with countries like Azerbaijan makes a lot of sense for the United Kingdom. The range of areas in which the countries engage is extensive. It includes demining, Azerbaijan's demining efforts in the recently occupied territory of Karabakh, and several demonstrate that for the UK, cooperation with Azerbaijan is not limited to just one area, but it's comprehensive and forward-looking.
Thank you for your insightful answers.
Thank you.
Afghanistan's acting foreign minister met with Qatar's top leadership in Doha to discuss bilateral relations, regional developments, and Qatar's continued support for the Afghan people.
During the visit, the acting Afghan Foreign Minister Amir Khan Muttaqi held talks with Qatar's Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani. The two sides focused on strengthening diplomatic ties, enhancing trade, and addressing current developments in the region. According to the Afghan Foreign Ministry, both parties emphasized the importance of deepening cooperation. The Qatari Foreign Minister described relations with Afghanistan as close and brotherly, and welcomed Afghanistan's improved engagement with the region. He also underlined the need for stronger economic links, particularly through greater interaction between the private sectors of both nations. Muttaqi, for his part, thanked Qatar for its invitation and acknowledged its vital role in Afghanistan's foreign policy. He also called for Qatari investment in Afghanistan's development and commercial sectors, proposing new efforts to boost bilateral trade. Qatar has long played a central role in Afghan diplomacy. It hosted Taliban leaders during the US-led war and served as a venue for the 2020 peace agreement between the United States and the Taliban. In recent years, Doha has also hosted several rounds of talks between Afghanistan's de facto authorities and the international community. Most notably, the UN-chaired Doha talks aimed at addressing Afghanistan's political, economic, and humanitarian challenges. Despite these close diplomatic ties, trade between Afghanistan and Qatar remains limited. In 2023, Qatar's import from Afghanistan totaled just over $1.7 $1.17 million, according to United Nations Comtrade database. As Afghanistan seeks deeper regional engagement, Qatar continues to serve as a key diplomatic and economic partner. This is Tamim Bahis in Kabul for A News.
Thanks for spending a moment with A News. Until we meet again.